All right, thanks again, everyone, for coming. We're going to get straight into the panel. So I want to introduce our panelists first.
Hey, guys. My name is Omar Kendall. I'm the game director. My job is basically to have a vision of that end user experience, what the players are going to experience when they buy the game and when they go home and when they play it, and sort of developing that vision for what that player experience is going to be like and making sure the rest of the team executes on that.
And I'm Paul Edwards. I'm the lead combat designer on the project. So basically, I'm in charge of all the character development in the combat group, so the combat systems, the way the game feels, the way the game plays when you're in control of your character.
My name is Ed Ma. Hi. I'm a senior combat designer. My job is to try and make sure the characters are fun to play and don't suck. Also, I work on gameplay systems. So, yeah, I do a little bit of everything.
My name is Ardavan Mhikin. Some of you guys might know me as Madge from SonicHurricane.com. I also work mostly on like the item system in the game. I'm a combat designer, and just some of the gameplay systems, such as the combo system and things like that.
Hello, my name is Tommy Ho. I'm the lead animator for SuperBot Entertainment and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I play with virtual dolls for a living, and I manage a team of people that also play with virtual dolls for a living. I'm in charge of basically the way the characters move and translating them from their original game into PlayStation All-Stars.
And my name is Daniel Maniago, aka Clockwork. I was hired on as community manager. I'm responsible for a range of tasks. Right now, I do a lot of asset requests, so a lot of the videos and pictures you see of the game, that's me. And I'll also be fostering the community for this game, make sure it's played to the competitive capacity. So one of the most hotly debated topics of our game, of course, is the Super KO system. It's a non-traditional style where we do not have life bars. Omar, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so when we first sat down to start making this game, we wanted to create an experience that players who might not be as familiar with fighting games, as some of you guys are, would be able to enjoy. I think we're going to have a lot of guys who come to this game because they love, Sly Cooper or Parappa the Rapper or someone like that, who's maybe even never played a fighting game before. And so some of the HUDs that you guys are used to experiencing in like Marvel, for instance, where you've got all these meters, you've got a health bar, and all these different systems. These systems are really familiar to you guys, and you guys are very comfortable with them. But some of the guys who play our game might be overwhelmed by that level of complexity. So we decided on a single HUD, a single bar that would govern our entire gameplay, and that is that super bar. Each character has 3 levels of super, level 1, level 2, and level 3. And as they fight, this meter builds. And so when you reach your level 1 super threshold, you can do a level 1 super. That's cheap. And then you have level 2s that are a little more expensive. Then you have your level 3 super, which is the most expensive of all. Each super gets progressively better at killing people. So a level 1 super is pretty good at killing maybe 1 person. A level 3 super is pretty good at killing 3 or more. And so the way that the game is played in its loop is you're constantly fighting, you're gaining meter for these supers, and you're using these supers to score points. Then at the end of a match, those people who have the highest score are the winners. We do have a couple of other match types. We have a stock mode. We also have a reverse stock that don't rely on time limit. It's a fixed number of kills, but the main loop of the game is still the same, where effectively you're using these supers to kill. So, like I mentioned, supers are earned by accumulating AP. AP is just an acronym that we use to refer to the energy that accumulates while you fight. Like I said, there are 3 levels of super, each one being more powerful. And we just describe power and magnitude in terms of its ability to kill, because really that's the only thing that matters when it comes to a super, is how good is it at killing. And so typically your level 2 supers are always stronger than your level 1s, and your level 3 supers are always stronger than your level 2s. Supers cannot be blocked, so all the traditional punching and kicking and shooting that our characters do in the game can be blocked, but supers are completely unblockable. This is something that a lot of people have asked. I've seen this go up on message boards a lot. If you have a level 3 super, does that mean I can just store up a bunch of level 1s and fire those off individually? Do I have super selection at any stage? And no, you do not. We made that a decision early on that you had to use whatever level of super that you can, the maximum level of super that you currently can afford. So if you have 2.5 bars, you have to do a level 2 super. Right, so supers will only deplete the AP cost of the current level. So in that same example that I just gave, if you have 2.5 bars and you fire off a level 2 super, whatever remainder energy that you had left over will remain in your bar. So if you're at, like, I don't know, 2.5 and you do your level 2 super, maybe you have enough energy left over after you do your level 2 super to actually do another level 1, and you'll still have the ability to do that after you do your level 2.
So given that, people might wonder, well, what can I do against supers to avoid being killed? And there are ways to avoid taking damage from supers.
Yeah, so since supers can't be blocked, we also have a dodge and an evade in the game, which is done by holding block and then pressing left or right on the stick, and you can roll. While you're rolling, you're completely invulnerable to any super attack, but only for half of that roll. You can also evade them just with positioning and good movement around the level. Our characters have a lot of, they have a lot more navigation than most fighting games do. And so if you use that to your advantage, you can successfully avoid them at any time. And you can also stuff supers. Supers aren't completely invincible on startups. For level 1s, they have a little bit more vulnerability. So with a well-placed quick attack, you can actually interrupt a super. And there's, I think we have some videos here where we actually show you some of them actually being avoided, and I'll talk a little about that. So here you see Slides using his teleport move to actually get out of the way of this super. And that was an example of a dodge. That's a roll in the game. And that's an air dodge. And so Big Daddy, he's actually moved slower than most characters in the game, but he's got a few attacks that actually allow him to run faster than his normal movement speed, which you saw him use to evade. Same thing here with Speed Creep. He's using normal attacks and their properties to evade. And that's an example of Drake using his level 1 to counter Slide's level 2. And here Radic dodges Big Daddy's level 2 charge and then shoots him in the back on a level 1. And this would be an example of just using good movement to avoid a lot of these attacks from the Mecha 2 level 3. Yeah, so even though supers are pretty powerful, with skill, they can actually be avoided and kind of mitigated. So the beginning players have a really good chance of catching most mid-tier players or to high-tier players. You can catch them off guard with, level 2 or level 3 and have a chance at killing even the better players. But better players will use the level 1s and evading those level 1s and level 2s and their skill level. So.
Okay, so we do have throws in our game. In most fighting games, throws function as this mechanic to stop players from just blocking all day. And we do have 3 different throws in our game. So they're performed with the right stick. Those 3 throws are performed with up, down, or forward. And, all these different throws have a different reaction that they cause. So, for example, some might cause a hard knockdown, and you want to use your wake-up game after that, set up some traps, things like that. You can also there's some throws that you can combo afterwards to build extra AP. And some throws will just send the guy flying. If you have other business to take care of, get that guy out of there and keep fighting. Sly Cooper is a good example of someone who has 3 different kinds of throws. They all have different functions depending on the situation. So we see Sly right here. He's using his down throw, causes a hard knockdown. He could set up his opponent after that. His up throw causes a launch. You can incur extra damage afterwards. And forward throw, of course, just sends him flying. So if you're playing in a free-for-all or any mode that has more than 1v1, you might not want to use the up throw to combo afterwards because someone might interrupt your follow-up to the up throw. So in that case, you might want to just do like the knockaway throw. And if your character, like Sly Cooper, has really good wake-up game, you want to do the hard knockdown and then set up some traps for them afterwards. So, and throws also have the unique ability of ejecting AP from opponents. So what will happen is you do the throw, and the AP orbs will fall out of them, and you can collect them, or anyone collect them, really. So it's one of the few systems that we have to deplete another opponent's AP. And in the game, we do have an infinite avoidance system. Art, if you want to talk about it, please.
Right, so Battle Royale has a very open freestyle combo system where it's basically a lot like Marvel and Tekken, where every attack puts a player in a hit stun or like an air reaction, and as long as they're in that reaction, you can keep hitting them over and over. Since we have such a diverse cast of characters, like for example, Radic has like a move that latches a grenade onto you that explodes after a amount of time, and he has a full screen sniper rifle. You have Kratos who has medium range attacks, and you have Parappa who has very close range attacks. Balancing all of these characters into a combo system and making them all mesh together, it presented a challenge for us. So instead of limiting it and creating a whole bunch of hard rules and special cases for when people fall out of combos, we combined all of that into one infinite avoidance system where once you reach a certain AP threshold of, during your combo, the opponent gets like ejected out of it. Kind of like Marvel 2 actually had a similar system where it was called uncombos for those of you who are technically into Marvel, where after a certain amount of infinite length, it would just like eject you out of it and you can hit anyone anymore. Our moment-to-moment gameplay is very exciting. When you have two players kind of fighting against each other, you have like a very dynamic match and a lot of decisions being made. But when someone gets stuck in a long combo, obviously they get taken out of the game. So we wanted to kind of allow people to extend their damage and their opportunities as much as possible, but still like return back to normal gameplay as quickly as possible so that you have both players interacting as much as possible. So I think this balances all of those concerns as well as we possibly could. So you get a lot of space to explore and still figure out what your best combo is for different situations, but things never get out of hand. You never have to worry about, we've seen on forums where people are saying, well, what happens if you get stuck in a weird situation in a level and someone keeps doing combos to you and things like that? That is not really a concern. We basically solved that. So that's the role of this system.
So we have this short video demonstration to illustrate what we're talking about. So that last hit usually causes a hard knockdown, but since that last hit is what brings the AP threshold to light, then he spins out in an invincible state, and the combo just ends right there.
And actually, if I could talking about that,
Sure.
You're actually invincible all the way until you hit the ground, unless you do a move. So yeah, you won't see it in this video, but currently he's invincible all the way until he touches the ground unless he does something. Because when you're in the air, you're more vulnerable in general, depending on the character. But we want to try and get you to the ground state safely.
So also the guy who's actually in the infinite avoidance, Kratos, in this situation, he's completely invulnerable even to supers until he touches ground or until he chooses to perform any offensive action. So if you're playing and you realize that, hey, this guy might try to perform a super, if you think you have enough time, you could actually cancel out and try to stuff it with a quick attack or whatever you'd like. It's up to the victim at that point when and where he chooses to get back into the action.